All right, what's going on, everyone? Aaron here, Clean Cuts Lawn Care. It is Monday morning. Last week, we had issues with the weather. It rained all of Sunday, all of Monday, all of Tuesday, going into Wednesday. So last week, we basically made the decision that we were gonna mow just our bi-weeklies and two lawns that didn't get cut the week before because they weren't ready, so we knew they would be ready by now. And then some select lawns that we know, they grow consistently and they're not soaking wet all the time. So that's what we did. We mowed all of Wednesday, all of Thursday. Friday I did a small landscape job and then mowed a few lawns after that. So they are calling for some rain this morning and then a small chance for the next 2 days, but I'm not worried about the next 2 days. I am worried about this morning. So if it rains, we gotta mow. You guys know I'm not a fan of mowing in the rain. I don't like to do that, or when it's soaking wet. But unless it's a torrential downpour, we're gonna mow. There are times where you just have to do it. Even though I'm not a fan, this would be one of the times that you just got to do what you got to do. So I'm actually on my way right now to buy the Harbor Freight bed unloader. I've been looking at them throughout the season, and I decided last night that we are going to buy one. I'm heading there right now, and we're going to get it because, for one, I'm probably going to be bagging a lot this week. I'm sure we're going to have some long lawns, and I'm going to bag them. Problem is, when I use a 36, I cannot dump that grass into a garbage can without making a huge mess. Then I got to transfer it from a garbage can into a bag. Now with the 30-inch, it's not bad because the bag fits in the garbage can quite well, and it's faster to dump it in the can and then into a bag. It just works faster. But that's a lot of work if you're gonna bag multiple lawns. So I'm gonna go ahead and grab that. Hopefully I'm gonna put it on real quick, and then we'll get to work. The Harbor Freight by my house is right by our first lawn for today. So that's the plan. Plus, next spring, we're going to be bagging a lot. Because everything stays so wet and grows so consistent. Just like we bagged a lot this spring, and it was quite hard to always be having to put everything in bags, and it was a headache. I know going to the dump's a headache, but I guess the less of two evils kind of thing. So, we're going to figure out which one it is. Plus, it'll help with fall cleanups this year. And, I think it's going to be a good purchase. If we like it, I will grab another one to put on the other 05 whenever we get it back. They still have it right now. I pass it on the way to work. Vicky passes it on the way to work and on the way home. I called them on Thursday. They said it was actually out on a test drive. So I'm assuming they fixed one part of it, but haven't got the parts for the other part of it. This is ridiculous. Look at this. Look at this. Unreal. Unreal. Alright guys, we got it. It was $53 after taxes, but I want to tell you first, when I went in, there was none of them on the shelf, and I had already seen online, I'm trying to fix my camera here, it said there was 6 in stock, so there was none on the shelf. I went and asked the girl who works here, I see her all the time. I said, there's none on the shelf, and it says there's 6 in stock. And immediately, this is not the first time it happened with that same person. Immediately she says, if it's not on the shelf, there's none in stock. So I just say, okay, but can we go ahead and check anyway? And she said, there's no reason to check because those stay on the shelf. So I said, I understand that, but can we check anyway? And she would not do it. So I found another guy, and I went over and I told him the situation. I told him it says there's 6 in stock, and there's none on the shelf. And I said, can we check in the back? And he said, I don't have to check. I know exactly where they're at, and they're in the back. I said, well, okay, cool, because it says there's 6 in stock. And he said, there's exactly 6 of them. He said, I was gonna put them out this morning. So the girl is the cashier. So as soon as I walk up there, right away she says, oh, someone messed up. Someone messed up. Yeah, someone messed up, all right, you. I mean, that's ridiculous. I'm asking you to check, and you won't. That's unreal to me. All right, let's get this put on. All right, guys, we're installing it. Really easy install. It looks to be tight enough without having to move these bolts. So we'll find out. That's actually the second time that this has happened, with that girl telling me that something wasn't in stock. Me and Vicky were doing a big trim job, and I wanted these little grinding pieces for a drill to grind up my hedge trimmers, and they weren't on the shelf. Couldn't find them on the shelf, at least in the spot that they're supposed to be in. And of course the only person around was that same girl. So I asked her about it, and I showed her on my phone, you know, which ones I was looking for, and she said, no, we're completely sold out of those. And I'm like, man, it says online you have them, you know. And she got really mad, just like she did right now. And I started moving things on the shelf, and sure enough, I found them. All right, we got the straps ran through here. Just gotta fasten them down. Nice and tight. I think what I'll do, instead of just leaving them loose, is I'll put a couple half hitches in them to keep the pressure on there. Alright guys, I did move the bolts from the second slot to the third to tighten them up. The reason I did that is because you can see this pop, you know, was popped out some, so it wasn't as tight as it should have been. So I actually had to put vice grips on the side and squeeze it down to move it. I could barely get this one into the third slot, but it is in now. So we're all hooked up. Yeah, now it's nice and tight. I mean, it ain't going nowhere. I did have to readjust the straps, but I did. And yeah, hell yeah. All right, let's get going. All right, so I just dumped the first lawn of grass in it, but here is what I'm doing with it. I've seen a lot of videos where as you're unrolling it, you know, you're losing debris off both sides. So I put a tarp bigger than the mat under the mat, and that way as I unload the debris, whatever falls off lands on the tarp, and then I'll just pull the tarp out and the little bit of debris remaining will be gone. Yeah, fall cleanups are coming soon. Alright, so that one back there, I've said it before, I'm quite certain she will not have us back next year. She's bi-weekly. We signed her up as bi-weekly this year before mowing even started, and it was not too long into spring that we decided to cancel bi-weekly services, meaning we were no longer taking new customers as bi-weekly. We did have to honor the people we signed up as bi-weekly, and she's one of them, but I'm quite certain she will not move to weekly, even though, you know, if it does not need mowed, we're not going to mow it. You know, we have enough accounts that we're not just going to mow your yard if it don't need it. The reason we want it set up as weekly is because of how these bi-weeklies through spring and through a lot of the summer, they just keep growing, you know, and you get there and it's a ridiculous amount of growth, and they need to be cut weekly. When it doesn't need to be cut, we won't be cutting it. You know, that's how we've done it for last year, this year. I'm not just gonna go rip someone off. You know, if it doesn't need it, it won't get mowed, and we have lawns that we skip all the time, you know, because of the growth patterns. So the place who has my truck is right down the street. I'm getting quite aggravated about the fact that it's still sitting outside. So I'm gonna drive by right now on my way to the next one and see if it's still outside. All right, finally, there it is, inside the shop, being worked on. Hell yeah. All right, good news, my truck is in the shop, being worked on. Like I said, when I talked to them on Thursday, they told me it was actually out on a test drive, which tells me some work got done on it. Hopefully they're gonna finish it up. Man, I'd love for them to finish it up today or tomorrow, pick it up tomorrow or Wednesday, because I want to put it to work, you know, make sure everything's okay on it. Putting this much money into something, you know. But kind of weird, when I left the shop this morning, I got very, very sick to my stomach. You know when you're about to be vomiting, and so that was going on, and I felt better, and now I'm on my way to this house. I'm in the truck, it's very cool outside. I'm in the truck with the air conditioner blasting, and I'm just like sweating, and I'm wiping sweat with my sweat rag. I don't know what's going on. I do not feel well. We did get a little bit of rain, and there is more coming. I mean, you could look, you know, if you see up in the sky with them rain clouds, but nothing. It would have to, like I said, only a big storm is gonna shut this down today. We cannot have it. So we're almost to the next one. Gonna be bagging this one because I know it's overgrown. It's one that stays wet, and that's why it got skipped last week. So nothing I can do but to bag it. It's a bumpy front yard. Hard to go straight. Starting to build up some grass in here. I want to know how it's going to dump. I mean, I've seen some videos of some guys dumping some heavy stuff out of here. So I'm thinking I'm gonna be happy with it. I gotta get that blower off of there, cover it up. Alright, got it all covered up. Blower will sit here to help keep it down. I don't really take the freeway when I'm working, so if it's not windy, I don't imagine I'll always have to do that. But for now, you know, it is what it is. That's another bumpy yard. It's so bad. Can't even keep the mower straight. But what are you gonna do? Gotta cut it. Alright, we're at the last one. If I get this one done quick enough, make it back to the shop, get unloaded, then I'll go to the dump tonight as opposed to going tomorrow. If I make it, I don't know. It's going to be really close. So, but I think it was the last cut that I showed. Really weird situation there. She called us right when mowing started. I'm sorry, about a month after mowing started, and she said, you know, her people quit showing up, the company she had, and she said the yard is so out of control, it's so high. And I said, let's say it was a Wednesday, okay? I don't know the exact days, but I said, okay, I can be there on Friday, because I knew 2 days later I would be there mowing in that area. She goes, you can't make it there until then? So I'm like, it's only 2 days from now. I said, I'll be in the area in 2 days. It could have been like a Monday and Wednesday, or a Wednesday, Friday, whatever. So I said, you know, I'll let you know on that day. Okay, but try to hurry. It's so out of control. I get there 2 days later. The grass has not grown one single bit. It hadn't been mowed, but it had not grown. So I call her number, and I give her the price, and I say the yard does not need cut until next week or maybe the week after. It's not growing. And she says, oh, okay, well, I don't know. I'm not in town. I haven't been in town in a couple weeks. So, like, didn't you say it was way out of control? Anyway, so I tell her the price, and then I say what it is with sales tax, and she goes, sales tax? She's like, I've never paid sales tax before. I said, well, look, I don't know what any other companies do. We do collect sales tax, and we turn it over to the state. And she said, are you sure that you have to collect sales tax? And I said, well, the first of every month, I pay it, and they take it. So I'm pretty sure. So every time she comes out to pay us, because she won't give us the credit card, every time she comes out to pay us, she's super nice. But then, like the other day, I'm sorry, not the other day, about 2 weeks ago, I had a missed call from her at like 6:45 in the morning. I said it had to be an accident, but it was the day I was doing her yard. So I waited till 9 o'clock. I call her back, no answer. She calls me back, and she goes, yeah. And I'm like, what the hell? I'm like, you called me at like 6 something this morning. I said, I thought maybe you had a question, or no question. I'm like, okay. But yet we mow her yard. She comes out, hi, how are you? How's it going? All right. And then a few days ago, calls me. I answer the phone. She goes, Aaron? And I'm like, yeah. And she was like, the yard didn't grow this week, but are you going to cut it? And I'm like, no, we've already looked at your yard. It didn't grow. We don't cut it. Okay, click. We mow it today. She comes out. Hi, Aaron. How are you? Oh, it's so good to see you. Like, what the heck is going on with this chick? I mean, she's older, but I don't know. Just a weird situation there. All right, just got done trimming and edging. Got to get it cut and bagged. We did not cut this one last week because it already stays kind of wet. So last week I'm certain it was soaked. Come on. The day is over. Made it back to the shop, got unloaded. I'm not gonna make it to the dump. I ran into a ton of traffic on the way here. That never happens. Normally I come down the main road to another main road. We're here, no problem. Just a ton of traffic. So on Saturday, you see all these buildings. This is one run right here. Every row has 3 runs of these buildings, and the 2 middle sections obviously have buildings in the front, or 2 sides of buildings, plus all those middle runs. There's 2 middle runs, then there's ends on both ends. So I said in another video, the manager here was telling me that it's in the person's contract to do all the trimming against the buildings. All wrong here because they grow weeds every week, and they hadn't been doing it. So also against that curb, which runs the entire perimeter of the place, all the way from the front entrance all the way around the back and the side. So they hadn't been doing it, and she had asked them about 2 or 3 different times. The guy said, oh yeah, we're taking care of it. From the look, she talked to me about it about 6 weeks ago, and from what I could tell, they hadn't done it in 6 to 8 weeks, and they get paid for it every week or every time they mow. So she ended up saying, I'll pay you out of pocket if you can handle it, because her big boss is coming. So Saturday, me and Vicky did it, and it was the first time Vicky ran a trimmer. I started her all the way in that corner, working her all the way down to the very end, which is way down there. I started on the other side, which, like I said, there's buildings across from each other, so you got to go all the way up and then all the way down for one side. There's 3 rows and then a half row. So Vicky made it from that corner all the way down to this corner. I had did about 2 rows, and we end up meeting on one side, and I said, okay, well, let's get you on the backpack blower and start cleaning, because we had to blow all this stuff into, you know, the grass or anywhere we could blow it. So we put her on the backpack blower, and she did literally from all the way back at that gate, this whole section, blowing everything out and over, all the way down to the entrance gate down there. By the time she did that, she made it around and halfway up the next row, and I was done trimming, and that's when I took over the backpack blower and finished everything up. So her trimming and blowing saved me at least an hour. We knocked it out, got done really fast, and the person was happy with it. Now her boss won't say nothing, and I'm sure we're gonna end up with this property next year. I know that the people haven't showed up, quite a few, you know, they don't show up all the time, plus they're not doing that. But I'll tell you now, I won't be doing it either. I will offer spray, and that's it. I'm not going to be doing that every time. It took us probably 2 hours, 2.5 to 3 hours, so I know why they're not doing it. But if you're getting paid for it every time, you either have to do it or tell them don't pay me for it, and I don't want to do that. So, all right, everyone, that's it for the day. If you liked the video, hit like, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment down below, let me know everything I'm doing wrong, and keep them edges clean, boys. I'm out.